Coming up, a fast-moving grass fire on County Road 110 and Cedar Road threatens 3 homes.
Plus, we're watching heat advisories yet again, but there's some rain chances on the way. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And local realtors see a decline in potential home buyers due to increased mortgage rates.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's another warm day today. Unfortunately, we're going to, check out Today in History a little later. We'll do that at a better time. We are watching another hot, dry day for today, and unfortunately, the heat advisories are sticking around for at least right now. We do have better looking chances for rain and some storms by midweek. Nothing really on the Skywatch storm tracker this morning other than those heat advisories. 7th and range line looking pretty good as we start this day, and it is not too bad. It's a little warm though. 77 is where we are in Joplin. 79 is what it feels like. Most of us starting our day in the mid 70s today. And as we get through the day, temperatures heating up once again. We're pushing mid to upper 90s again for highs, but we also keep that gusty south wind. And heading into the night, not bad if you like it warm at night. Getting into the lower 80s, upper 70s as we start the day with those gusty winds sticking around. But as we mentioned, we do have some increasing storm chances, which is definitely a plus. Unlike the last round of 100s we saw, where it was just hundreds and hot and dry continuously, this one's getting broken up just a little bit. We'll talk about those rain chances here in just a few minutes.
We had a nice spell of decent temperatures, though.
We did right up until August 1st. Yeah. We ended July pretty decently after July just, beat us down. But now August.
It did.
Yeah,
it tried
August
to tease us
around
at the end of the month, like, oh, we're sorry.
Yeah. July apologized, and then August put on those steel-toed boots and said, hold up, 4 states. Let me show you what summer's really like. So,
well, hopefully it won't last forever.
I'm certainly hopeful it will not. But at least we've got some rain chances, and that's better than no chances.
Good to know. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a Southwest Missouri man is dead from an early morning crash. Authorities say Franklin Bradley was driving on Lawrence 2040 in Miller, Missouri, where his car went off the road and hit a fence and tree and overturned. Bradley died on the scene. Authorities responded to a call Sunday night in Montgomery County, Kansas for an evening crash. They say when they arrived, they found a car upside down in the ditch where they found 40-year-old Amber Beckenholt of Elk City, Kansas. She died at the scene. Carthage Fire and Dunwood Fire halt a grass fire before it reaches structures. At about 11:30 a.m. Monday morning, there were reports of a fast-moving grass fire near County Road 110 and Cedar Road. Jasper County Emergency 911 was alerted. Carthage Fire alongside Mercy Carthage Ambulance responded. Dunwood Fire responded as mutual aid. 3 homes were threatened, but the 2 fire departments working together controlled the flames. Crews remained on scene till after 1 p.m., making sure fence rows were extinguished. There's not a burn ban in Jasper County. However, burning outside is not recommended. Each fire department and district set their own standards according to daily conditions. Well, authorities make an arrest in the robbery of a Joplin convenience store on Wednesday, July 27th. The Joplin Police Department responded to a report of a burglary at Zips convenience store on 32nd Street. During the investigation, the JPD found the suspect had entered the store through a broken window and stole a variety of store merchandise before fleeing the scene. Surveillance video from a separate occasion shows the suspect forcing entry into the business and stealing additional merchandise. Authorities tracked down the suspect, 18-year-old Aaron Moore, a homeless man, and confirmed that Moore committed the burglaries. Moore has been arrested and charged for burglary, property damage, and stealing. Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff's Department is getting $60,000 in federal money to buy non-lethal weapons, enhanced tasers, and cameras on their guns. Sheriff says these tools will help with the arrest of suspects and be safer for deputies and the community at large. Well, the current housing market is giving some local potential home buyers cold feet. Mortgage interest rates have increased since the beginning of the year. In January, the market rates were around 3%. Now the national average is hovering around 6%. The increase in rates has greatly affected the buying power of potential home buyers.
At an interest rate of 3%, if you want about $1,000 monthly mortgage rate, you can shop around $250,000. But now their interest rates have climbed. If you look at a 6% interest rate, a buyer that wants a $1,000 monthly payment is now only shopping around $174,000.
Despite the increase in mortgage rates, some local realtors say the market is about to shift to the buyer's advantage. Pittsburgh Community Schools is looking for workers to fill non-teaching positions. So on Monday, they hosted a job fair. Some of the jobs available include maintenance, food services, transportation, and paraprofessionals.
I appreciate those members who are interested, and it's exciting for us to see one-on-one interaction instead of it just being an online application. This gives us an opportunity to put a name with a face, shake someone's hand, and build a relationship.
The job fair was held at Pittsburgh High School. Emergency room at Mercy Hospital in Joplin is not testing just anyone for COVID. The hospital is staying prepared by rationing their COVID test. Unless you are symptomatic or have a referral from your doctor, Mercy's emergency room is directing people to go to outpatient testing sites. This is to make sure there are enough tests for critically ill patients.
The biggest issue is just the lack of available tests and the utilization of the tests for the most appropriate patient population. So we would hate to use one on an ambulatory, healthy, well-appearing young person and not have one for the critically ill respiratory failure patient that's getting admitted to the ICU.
To find free testing sites for your area, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com.
So we said we'd check on the rain chances. We don't have them today, but we do have some increasing clouds, and it will be another breezy one today and tonight. Tomorrow, it's still going to be hot, unfortunately, but you can see off to the northwest some building storm chances, and they'll make their way in here tomorrow night. Into Thursday. It's hard to believe it's already Tuesday. I'm kind of losing track of days, but we do have those increasing storm chances. We do need some additional rain because, again, the drought situation has not improved, and any rain we get is certainly going to be beneficial at this point.
I'm with you. It's hard to believe it's Tuesday already.
It is.
Yesterday, of course, felt like Sunday to me since I had the day off.
Right, and it's already August on top of that, and we're already on the second day of August on top of that.
I know school's about ready to start.
I know it. My youngest is excited. The two older ones are like, it's school, okay. But the youngest, he starts kindergarten, and so he's beyond, he keeps asking when school will start.
There you go. Well, I'm sure he's going to love it. Well, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pittsburgh Post 64 wins the state title and heads to participate in the Mid-South Regional Tournament.
Plus, we're talking documentaries today as Princess Diana gets one of her very own.
And it's back to school time. We've got tips on how to help if your child or children get anxiety about school. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, for the second straight year, Pittsburgh Post 64 won the state title and will be competing in the Mid-South Regional Tournament. Patriots hit the road for Alabama. They enter the regional tournament with a 16-10 and 1 record, 16-10 and 1 rather. Pittsburgh has played a tough schedule, and they're expecting it to continue to pay off this postseason.
So in the beginning of the year, we went to a lot of showcase tournaments. We played a lot of good teams, and it kind of lowered our confidence a little bit because they were really good teams. And then we went to the state tournament and kind of just rolled through it, and that feels really good. And I think it's giving us that confidence we need to go down here and play our best game and win some games.
Pittsburgh faces Tupelo, the Mississippi state champs, in their first game of the tournament on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. That'll be a good challenge. Tupelo is 32-1 this season. Well, yesterday marked 1 month until college football returns. Missouri Southern kicks off their season on September 1st against Nebraska Kearney. The Lions are aiming to build off a 3-8 record from last year, their best since 2014. Great news, Southern returns 3 of last year's starting linebackers, Colton Winder, Richard Jordan, and Coleman Booker. Now that trio will lead in defense and should play a big role in the team's success.
That's a group I don't worry about. You know, when we do grade checks, when we do weight room check, I just know those guys are going to do what it takes to win. And those guys do a great job, you know, being out in front and leading our football team. And so that linebacker crew really is going to anchor our defense, and we'll go as they go.
The Kansas City Chiefs are back in action at training camp in St. Joe. The Chiefs are taking things up a notch this week. Yesterday was the first practice with full pads. Tight end Travis Kersey speaks about what it's been like to line up against a bunch of new guys on defense.
Everybody's working and everybody's playing fast and physical, and that's what you need. You just need confident football players out there, and the more that they get acclimated with this defense, no doubt the Spags are going to have these guys flying around playing great football. We got some dogs up front, man. We got some good guys up in the front line, especially, Carl Lafagis getting in there, throwing his heavy hands around, and it's just been cool, man. It'll be good when we get Carlos in here and kind of get the whole bunch together.
Well, still to come, France sees a record heat wave in July. Plus, got to check that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Well, the Skywatch Storm Tracker doesn't have a lot to show on it in our immediate area. There are a few thunderstorms out north of Wichita. The only thing it does have to show in our area are heat advisories, which run through at least Wednesday at 8 o'clock because it's going to be hot again. Can't tell that yet, though. Even though it is a pretty mild, muggy start to the day, 77 in Joplin feels like 79 with a higher dew point and higher humidity. All of us starting in about the mid-70s, no special cool spots today. And it's going to be another hot one, unfortunately. It's going to be breezy, too. Temperatures reaching in the mid to upper 90s once again with a gusty south breeze. And as we head into the overnight, just like today, not a lot of relief from the heat. We'll be cloudy, and then it'll clear out a little bit before clouds build in again. Still a gusty south breeze. Lows dropping down to the upper 70s. And here's a look at that breeze. It's going to be a little bit on the windy side for a number of us, and the winds will really increase tomorrow with our next set of storm chances coming in. So again, with the trash can forecast, we're still stuck on knocked over, so you don't have to worry about chasing it down just yet. But if these winds continue to increase, you might find it in your neighbor's yard. Quick look at the future track shows that it's going to be extremely hot. Here's those building clouds as we head through the day into tonight. They clear out, and then they'll start to build again by tomorrow afternoon, and that is simply because, take a look off to the northwest. See all that nice activity out there? That's eventually going to make its way to our area by Wednesday night and into Thursday mornings. These are going to be overnight showers and storms, but they're going to be showers and storms nonetheless, something that we absolutely need. Well, one of the most intensely scrutinized public figures of modern times is the subject of a new film that examines how she was covered in the media. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
She likes to be with people.
She likes to be bloody well watched.
That's ridiculous.
She has been humiliated.
When you put a modern post in an ancient institution, they will be destroyed.
The new documentary, The Princess, traces the life of Princess Diana from her seemingly fairy tale courtship to her death 25 years ago this month. The film looks at Diana's life in the non-stop media spotlight and how the constant scrutiny and judgment reflected the public's fears and desires. The Princess debuts August 13th on HBO and HBO Max.
I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
On the contrary, Everything Everywhere All at Once could hardly look better to its studio, A24. The dark action comedy has crossed the $100 million mark in worldwide ticket sales, making it the highest-grossing film in A24 history. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
So that brings us to our something to talk about this morning. What kind of documentaries do you watch? You watch true crime, political, life stories, travel, historical, science and nature, or maybe some other types of documentaries. We want to hear from you. You can vote, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Do so in the KOAM News Now app. Take part in the discussion on Facebook. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has added 3 new travel destinations to its list of high risk for COVID-19. They include Eastern Europe's Romania and Moldova, and then St. Pierre and Mclaughlin, a sparsely populated fresh archipelago off of the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. Those 3 countries are now part of nearly 125 destinations the CDC considers a level 3 risk. Places at that level have had more than 100 cases per 100,000 residents in the past 28 days. Other level 3 destinations include France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Spain, the United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, South Korea, Thailand, and Turkey. The threat a potential monkeypox infection can pose varies by some extent by state. According to analysis from the Kaiser Family Foundation, 97% of the allocated vaccine has been requested by jurisdictions. But some areas are getting noticeably more than others. 10 states have requested 50% or less of their share. Researchers say some states have few or no cases, may not need as much as others right now. Georgia has also held back on its request due to earlier storage concerns. And the findings of the KFF study are based on data from all 50 states and 5 major cities. The Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office reports 14 suspected heat-related deaths since July 25th. State police say none of the deaths can be confirmed as heat-related just yet. Confirmation could take several months. The deaths were in Multnomah, Umatilla, Marion, and Clackamas counties, with the latest one reported on Saturday. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings were in effect for much of the state last week as temperatures reached well into the 90s and low 100s. Every child feels differently about going back to school. Some be excited while others nervous. Anxiety in children may not look the same as it does in adults. Mandy Gaither has the signs to look out for and ways to help your child get ready to head back to school.
It's that time of year again. Heading back to the classroom may bring up a lot of different feelings.
Even if your kid is excited about going back to school, it's okay and completely normal if all of a sudden they start to feel anxiety.
Therapist Jody Baumstein says back-to-school anxiety can look different in every child, but some common signs to look out for are frequent worrying about school, trouble concentrating, frequent headaches or stomach aches with no known medical cause, changes in eating or sleeping habits, clinginess to caregivers, changes in mood, sweating, shaking, or fast breathing when thinking about school, and not taking part in activities they normally enjoy.
Anxiety can come from fear of the unknown. So for some kids, what's going to be most helpful is just really familiarizing them with certain things related to going to school.
Parents can help by going to the Meet the Teacher night or visiting the school before the first day. Drive the bus route or drop-off route with your child so they know what to expect. Encourage your child to practice with things they'll be using on their own, like lunch containers or backpacks. And meet up with other kids who go to the school so there are familiar faces.
Anything you can do to prepare ahead of time is going to put their mind at ease and make them a little more comfortable on day one.
Feelings about school may change day to day, so the therapist says it's important to set a regular routine where parents check in with children and ask open-ended questions to see how they are feeling. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
So the reason for the heat advisories across the area is the heat index values. Now, last time we had high temperatures, heat index values weren't an issue. This time they are. These are going to be about 10 degrees above what the outside temperature is, with heat index values pushing close to 110. Quick look at the 7-day forecast. Alert days through Wednesday because of those heat advisories, which again may get extended. Thunderstorms build in Thursday night into, my goodness, I put those on the wrong day, didn't I? They build in tomorrow night into Thursday, and then it stays hot as we head through the rest of the week. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News when we come back.
Coming up, a fast-moving grass fire on County Road 110 and Cedar Road threatens 3 homes.
Skywatch storm tracker is clear right now, but that's probably going to change in the next 24 hours. We'll tell you about it in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And local realtors see a decline in potential home buyers due to increased mortgage rates.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:28. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. That was a squirrel.
Yes, it was.
He was just enjoying his day, wasn't he?
Either that or looking for ways to distract me this morning.
That's probably why he's there. I mean, that way, you know, you're walking through your house and you see our show, you're getting breakfast ready, you go, oh, hey, look, a squirrel. And then all of a sudden we appear. Oh, it's those guys again. What are they doing there? So there's a bunch of dead bugs on the front of my car, and it got me thinking.
From squirrel to dead bugs,
Who invented, that's the whole point of the squirrel. Who invented the car wash? Who was the person who said, you know what, people need a quick, convenient way to wash their cars?
Somebody who was also thinking, we need a way to bring on the rain.
That's very true. Go wash your cars today. You see some isolated storms out north of Wichita. A couple of those may make it into our northern counties. Otherwise, we're going to stay dry. Heat advisories continue at least through Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and wouldn't be surprising if they get extended. 7th and Range line right now looking pretty good. Not a lot of cars on the road yet. 77 is where we sit. Feels like 79. Most of us starting the day in the mid-70s. No cool spots today as we are starting to kick into summer once again. Heat advisories in effect because highs pushing in the mid to upper 90s. Heat index values close to 110 with a gusty south breeze. And tonight it'll be very mild again. Overnight lows dropping into the lower 80s to upper 70s as we start the day tomorrow. Rain chances, though, are a possibility. We'll go over those rain chances a little bit later.
All right, we'll be ready for the heat this week, I guess.
Yeah, at least we get a little bit of a pause with some rain. Doesn't do much for temperatures, but it rains, and that's better than no rain at all.
Bring on the mugginess.
Whoa, 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 whoa. She didn't really mean that, everybody.
No, we don't want
She doesn't want to bring on the, right? You don't want to bring on the
But we do need the rain, so go ahead and wash your cars today.
Please, wash your cars today and especially tomorrow. It'll just help guarantee some of those rain chances.
We know how that works.
Wash your car, mow your yard. I mean, your yard's probably dead, but you know what? Go out there and mow it anyway.
Keep on dancing.
Just anything that you can do to help encourage these rain chances.
And there you go. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, authorities make an arrest in the robbery of a Joplin convenience store on Wednesday, July 27th. The Joplin Police Department responded to a report of burglary at Zips convenience store on 32nd Street. During the investigation, JPD found the suspect had entered the store through a broken window and stole a variety of store merchandise before fleeing the scene. Surveillance video from a separate occasion shows the suspect forcing entry into the business and stealing additional merchandise. Authorities tracked down the suspect, 18-year-old Aaron Moore, a homeless man, and confirmed that Moore committed the burglaries. Moore has been arrested and charged for burglary, property damage, and stealing. Carthage Fire and Dunawig Fire halt a grass fire before it reaches structures. About 11:30 Monday morning, there were reports of a fast-moving grass fire near County Road 110 and Cedar Road. Jasper County Emergency 911 was alerted. Carthage Fire alongside Mercy Carthage Ambulance responded. Dunawig Fire responded as mutual aid. 3 homes were threatened, but the 2 fire departments working together controlled the flames. Crews remained on scene until after 1 p.m., making sure fence rows were extinguished. There's not a burn ban in Jasper County. However, burning outside is not recommended. Each fire department and district sets their own standards according to daily conditions. Southwest Missouri man is dead from an early Monday morning crash. Authorities say Franklin Bradley was driving on Lawrence 2040 in Miller, Missouri, when his car went off the road, hit a fence and tree, and overturned. Bradley died on the scene. Authorities responded to a call Sunday night in Montgomery County, Kansas, for an evening crash. They say when they arrived, they found a car upside down in the ditch where they found 40-year-old Amber Beckenholt of Elk City, Kansas. She died at the scene. Mercy Hospital is not testing just anyone for COVID. The hospital is staying prepared by rationing its COVID test unless you are symptomatic or have a referral from your doctor. Mercy's emergency room is directing people to go to outpatient testing sites. This is to make sure there are enough tests for critically ill patients.
I wouldn't say that there's really a strict criteria where if they meet this, we test them emergently. It's really truly a patient-by-patient basis, and sometimes even comes into play with what our supply chain looks like right now.
To find free testing sites for your area, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Monday, Kansas Senator Jerry Moran announced new federal resources for the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff's Office received $60,000 to buy non-lethal weapons, enhanced tasers, and cameras on their guns.
Violence has skyrocketed across the country, and the Midwest is not immune to that. And so our deputies are seeing an increase in violent situations on a regular basis. And these tools are going to allow us to apprehend those suspects in a safer way that will not only be safer for the suspects, but for the deputies and the community at large.
Senator Moran is the lead Republican on the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and related agencies, which helped him secure the funds. Mortgage interest rates have doubled since the beginning of the year. With fluctuating rates, potential home buyers are navigating a changing market. Some local realtors had what has been a very strong market has slowed a bit. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
The housing market has been shifting dramatically all year. The recent increase in housing interest rates made potential home buyers hesitate when searching for a home.
If you were shopping in January for a home, you were shopping at 3.5% interest. If you didn't find a home between January and now you look at the market and you're like, my interest rates doubled. Like, that took me out of what I was even looking at. So
Ryan understands that home buyers can get cold feet when they see national interest rates increase. However, he wants them to keep this in mind.
But what they say now is marry the home, date the rate.
Rate fluctuates, and refinancing is a great way to snag a lower rate while living in your home. Brittany Guthrie do not want her clients to reject their dream home over rates.
I mean, interest rates are something that concern my clients because the media surrounds, so much drama around interest rates. Historically, 5 to 6% is an average interest rate. It's really not bad. It's a lot lower than what a lot of people have bought homes at. So
when it comes to the housing market, it's best to look at the long run.
In the long run, as long as you own a house if you're planning on owning it for about 5 years, then you should be okay. The numbers just continue to increase and home values increase. So
both realty experts foresee a shift in the market soon, a shift to a buyer's advantage. In Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
If you're planning on buying a home in the Joplin area, contact a local expert to help guide you through interest rates and the housing market.
Quick look at the future track. By tomorrow afternoon, look at those storm chances off to the north. They are going to make their way into our area, which will be nice. We went a little too far. We'll talk about that later. So take a look at the 7-day, increasing storm chances Wednesday night into Thursday. Doesn't do much for the temperatures, but at least we get some rain out of this, and then we return to hot weather to end the week and start next week as well under sunny conditions.
All right. Well, this morning we are discussing documentaries. The new documentary, The Princess, traces the life of Princess Diana from her seemingly fairy tale courtship to her death 25 years ago this month. The film looks at Diana's life in the nonstop media spotlight and how the constant scrutiny and judgment reflected the public's fears and desires.
Now, if you're interested in watching this documentary, it'll be premiering on HBO and HBO Max on August 13th. And that brings us to our Something to Talk About. What kind of documentaries do you watch? Are they true crime, political, life stories, travel, historical, science and nature, something else? Well, 26% of you say true crime or other. There's also historical, science and nature, and political on the board. Make sure you vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can do so in the KOAM News Now app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
I think I'd fall into the historical category.
I do enjoy historical documentaries, for sure. I think I fall into the other as well, because I like documentaries about TV shows and things like that as well. They're pretty cool.
All right. I like the true crimes too. Those are fun.
Those are good. Those, I mean, I can't say that there's really any that aren't good, really.
Documentaries, the way to go. And of course, also the KOAM Morning News.
Of course, we are a daily documentary.
That's right. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, we're going to take a sneak peek at Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
Plus, Ayman al-Zawahiri is killed by a U.S. airstrike. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, France experiences its driest July for more than 60 years. France saw a record-breaking heat wave in July, which brought raging wildfires across the western and southern parts of the country. A new heat wave is expected to arrive this week, with the Southwest potentially reaching 104 degrees. Wildfires have been popping up across southern France, with the biggest one in the department of Gard, destroying more than 864 acres of forest. England experiences its driest July since 1935. Regions in the south and east were particularly hit hard by the lack of rainfall, with southern England recording its driest July on record since 1836. Like with the rest of Europe, July saw a record-breaking heat wave hit the British Isles, where the UK saw temperatures above 100 degrees for the first time. Well, hungry traveler may have just paid for the most expensive McDonald's breakfast ever. The passenger traveling from Indonesia to Australia is being fined nearly $1,900 for leaving 2 undeclared egg and beef sausage McMuffins and a ham croissant in their luggage. Biosecurity dogs sniffed out the sandwiches, which were sent to be tested for foot and mouth disease. This comes after Australian authorities introduced new biosecurity rules after a foot and mouth disease outbreak in Indonesia spread to Bali. And at least 6 people were shot overnight in Ajax, Ontario, about 30 miles from Toronto. According to a series of tweets by Durham Regional Police, one of the victims has life-threatening injuries. Police said the shooting happened behind a restaurant. Investigators are still looking for evidence at the scene. Suspect or suspects got away in a vehicle. No other details are known at this time. President Biden says Osama bin Laden's right-hand man, 71-year-old Ayman al-Zawahiri, was killed by U.S. airstrike in Afghanistan. His death means all the key plotters in the September 11, 2001 attacks are either dead or captured. Trinity Chavez reports from New York.
President Biden says a U.S. drone strike has killed the al-Qaeda leader who helped mastermind the 9/11 terror attacks.
At my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed the emir of al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri.
In an evening address from the White House, the president said al-Zawahiri also played a key role in the deadly 1998 U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, and the 2000 attack on the USS Cole, which killed 17 American sailors.
He carved a trail of murder and violence against American citizens, American service members, American diplomats, and American interests.
Al-Zawahiri's death at a house in downtown Kabul over the weekend comes after U.S. troops pulled out of Afghanistan last summer, ending a 2-decade war.
This does take a leader off the battlefield and will to some degree disrupt that organization and force them to come up with new leadership.
The president said he would never allow Afghanistan to again become a safe haven for terrorist groups like al-Qaeda.
No matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out.
Afghanistan's Taliban government issued a statement condemning the airstrike as a clear violation of international principles and the 2020 Doha Agreement that led to the withdrawal of U.S. forces. But it did not mention al-Zawahiri. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
U.S. officials say they believe al-Zawahiri's family was in another part of the home when the strike took place and that it appears no one else was killed. Al-Zawahiri took over al-Qaeda after Osama bin Laden's death in 2011. Bin Laden was killed in Pakistan in 2011 in an operation carried out by U.S. Navy SEALs after a nearly decade-long effort to find him. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities make an arrest in the robbery of a Joplin convenience store on Wednesday. Last Wednesday, the Joplin police responded to a report of a burglary at Zips convenience store on 32nd Street. During the investigation, the JPD found the suspect had entered the store through a broken window and stole a variety of store merchandise before fleeing the scene. Surveillance video from a separate occasion showed the suspect forcing entry into the business and stealing additional merchandise. Authorities tracked down that suspect, 18-year-old Aaron Moore, a homeless man, and confirmed Moore committed the burglaries. Moore has been arrested and charged for burglary, property damage, and stealing. Southwest Missouri man is dead from an early Monday morning crash. Authorities say Franklin Bradley was driving on Lawrence 2040 Road in Miller, Missouri, when his car went off the road, hit a fence and tree, and overturned. Bradley died at the scene. Authorities responded to a call Sunday night in Montgomery County, Kansas for an evening crash. They say when they arrived, they found a car upside down in the ditch where they found 40-year-old Amber Beckenholt of Elk City, Kansas. She died at the scene. Carthage Fire and Dunawig Fire halt a grass fire before it reached structures. About 11:30 Monday morning, there were reports of a fast-moving grass fire near County Road 110 and Cedar Road. Jasper County Emergency 911 services were alerted. Carthage Fire alongside Mercy Carthage Ambulance responded. Dunwood Fire responded as mutual aid. 3 homes were threatened, but the 2 fire departments worked together to control the fire. Crews remained on scene until after 1, making sure fence rows were extinguished. There is not a burn ban in Jasper County. However, burning outside is not recommended. Each fire department and district sets their own standards according to daily conditions. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We're having a mild start to the day with most of us in the mid to even upper 70s. As we go through the day, temperatures will climb into the mid to upper 90s. Heat index values pushing close to 110, hence the heat advisories that are in effect. No relief from the heat tonight either. Lower 80s, upper 70s for overnight lows, but we do have some storm chances going into Wednesday night into Thursday before temperatures continue to stay hot. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
.com.
Whether you're looking for thrills, chills, or the stories behind the headlines, there's a movie for you coming soon.
David Daniel has a trio of new trailers in today's Hollywood Minute.
We're doing something Saturday. The 3 of us, best holiday of the year, just like always. It'll be wicked.
Friends vow to spend the night locked in a supposedly haunted Halloween store. What could go wrong? Here's a look at the first trailer for Spirit Halloween, the movie, which arrives on VOD October 11th.
The commanding officer called you one of the best pilots he's ever seen. It must be hard being the naval aviator. Absolutely.
Devotion, inspired by a true story, focuses on 2 elite U.S. Navy fighter pilots during the Korean War. Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country and Glenn Powell from Top Gun Maverick star in the war drama, which flies into theaters November 23rd.
You really don't understand the things that you have until they're washed away from you.
A year after Hurricane Katrina, the population of New Orleans had dropped by half, and 15 years later, 100,000 residents still had not returned. The documentary Forced Change looks at the effects of that massive displacement of people and whether climate change makes it more likely in more places. Forced Change is now available on digital platforms. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Yeah, looks like some pretty good movies.
Yep, a lot coming out. Well, fans of the Sandman comic books are about to have a dream come true with this week's debut of the Netflix adaptation.
Rick Damigella reports.
When the waking world leaves you wanting and weary, sleep brings you here.
The many worlds of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman comic book come to life in a new Netflix series.
For I am the king of dreams and nightmares.
I care about it so much. It's a piece of literature that is so important to me.
As a fan of the comic, Tom Sturridge knew he had an immense responsibility to the character and overcame his trepidation thanks to the Sandman's creator.
It was Neil Gaiman. That this isn't a sort of production of his that he's passed on to Netflix and said, go make my Sandman. This is his Sandman. He was there every step of the way, from my first casting moment to the final day. He watched every frame. He was the teacher, guide, mentor.
Feels like we actually did the impossible. When I look back on it, and I look back on 30 years of trying to stop bad movies being made, and I could not be prouder of the thing that we've made.
I thought about giving up, but I have a job to do, and I do it.
For the uninitiated, the Endless are immortal beings, manifestations of aspects of the human condition, including death and desire.
The Sandman has so many fans, but I mean, I don't think I've ever been part of something that has such a varied and diverse group of fans, age-wise, gender, career.
And the fact that now I get to take a character like Desire, who on paper is incredible to begin with, but also then identifies in the same way that I do and uses a similar language to describe themselves as I do, is really exciting and enticing, and it feels nice that it's happening at this point in my life.
The only reason we even exist is to serve them.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
This will be interesting.
So I was just about to say the same thing. It certainly looks interesting.
It'll do something to your dreams anyway.
It'll be on Netflix, so something else to check out, something we've talked about. So,
all right.
We've got to check out your forecast, which hopefully you're dreaming about some rain because that's on the way. Well, Skywatch storm tracker showing some storms out north of Wichita. One or two of those may make it into our northern counties later today, but the majority of us are going to stay dry. Instead, if you look outside and look up at the sky, you may see this bright orange. Okay, that's what I thought as a kid when they issued watches and stuff, is that you could see it in the sky. Turns out, it doesn't actually work that way. But wouldn't it be cool if it did? Just a thought. Otherwise, heat advisory staying in effect through at least Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Looking pretty decent, 7th and range line. A few more cars on the road. 77 in Joplin, feels like 79. And both of those numbers are only going to climb through the day. Most of us starting the day in the mid to upper 70s. As we progress on, it'll be breezy. That south wind gusting upwards of 25. Temperatures pushing the mid to upper 90s with heat index values pushing close to 110. No major relief from the heat tonight, though. Lower 80s, upper 70s to start the day, but at least we keep that gusty wind at about 20 miles an hour. You can take a look at the gusty winds, and they'll really pick up heading into tomorrow in advance of the incoming storms. So make sure you're keeping an eye on your trash can in case it, gets knocked over. Could be pushing into the neighbor's yard if the winds continue. Quick look at the future track, and I mean really quick look. You'll see that the showers and thunderstorms start to build in by tomorrow afternoon off to our north and west, and that'll be what moves in tomorrow night into Thursday. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News when we come back.
Coming up, voters in Joplin head to the polls today to determine whether or not to raise property taxes to help support the police and fire departments.
Heat advisories will remain in effect, so we've got a couple of more alert days, but there's some rain coming. We'll break it down in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And an infusion of federal funds goes to help the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office with the purchase of new equipment.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. I was just talking. We need an infusion of cheese sauce.
Why? I love cheese, but...
I don't know. It just sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Depends on, how you're feeling for the day. Cheese may be a bad choice for today. Kind of like Ron Burgundy in Anchorman when he had milk on a very hot day. That was a very bad choice. Don't have milk today either because it's going to be another hot one.
It is Taco Tuesday, and I don't mind a little cheese on that.
That's true. See, we had tacos on Sunday just because it was convenient. Maybe I can coax them into Taco Tuesday tonight at home. Wife makes great tacos. I had like 12 of them.
Okay.
I could eat more tacos, but we ran out of little taco shells. So anyway, heat advisories sticking around through at least Wednesday. Tanya keeps giving me those weird looks in the morning. She hasn't adapted to the fact that I'm just straight up weird sometimes. It just happens. And now she's tearing up things. See, I've scared her that much that she just can't hold on to anything. Our guys in the back are just like, 77 in Joplin right now, feels like 79. Most of us are starting the day in the mid-70s. As we progress through the day, those heat advisories are because of this. Not necessarily the high temperatures, but the heat index values. So highs pushing in the mid to upper 90s with heat index values pushing close to 110 with a gusty south wind. Gusty south wind hangs on through the night, but doesn't do much for temperatures. 82 by 2 a.m., 79 as we start our day. There are some rain chances coming up in roughly 36 hours. Sounds about right. And we'll talk about those rain chances here in just a little bit. And what they will or won't do for the forecast.
Yes, we need those. We need to make it safe out there for everybody.
Perhaps the sky needs an infusion of cheese sauce. So we had, I've got to bring this up. Look, Tanya doesn't know what to do with me at this time of day. I don't know what to do with me at this time of day. So there were some folks yesterday actually commented that it would be great for some of the new people to introduce themselves, and that included me, and it just struck me as interesting. So I figured I'd take a moment. I've been at the station 5.5 years. I understand there's some people who have probably never seen me before, but now I'm here to do your morning weather because I have a strong passion for weather. And one of the other questions was, where do these people come from? Well, the good news for you is I worked in news once before. I left. I came back here because I am born and raised in Joplin. So unfortunately, until this station fires me or Tanya boots me out the back door, you're stuck with me. I have got no desire to move to another city. The wife and I, we're both from here. Our kids are obviously being raised here. We've got no desire to go anywhere. So you're stuck with me until they tell me to leave. And it's been 5.5 years and they haven't told me to leave yet.
When I moved here in 2005 and you were working in news at that point.
That was a long time ago, because I do
Many
remember.
moons ago.
I remember when Tanya first started, because I actually started in news in 2004. I was 16. Yeah, 16, and started reporting. And I remember when Tanya started, so.
And we won't tell how old I was.
Well, if it gives you any idea, 2004, man, it was a long time ago.
It was, yeah.
World has changed a lot, but the news and weather is still the news and weather. It's the things that you need to know. And Tanya's got information you need to know to start your day.
That's right, because today is Election Tuesday. Voters in Missouri and Kansas will head to the polls today for primary elections. On the ballot in both states are some state and local races. Kansans will also decide a constitutional amendment on the right to abortion. In Missouri, polls just opened at 6 a.m. and will run until 7 p.m. In Kansas, they're open from 7 to 7. Today, residents of Joplin get to vote for or against a higher property tax to help the Joplin Police and Fire Departments get officer retention and increase hiring. Both the fire and police departments say they are understaffed and underfunded. The proposed tax would levy a $1 tax for every $100 of assessed value on the property. The police department says they need 22 new officers, while the fire department says it's lost firefighters to other fire departments and to retirement.
Expenditures like this, the city budget doesn't have the flexibility to add $9 million in additional expense the way we're set up. So we've got to find something in addition to the sales tax revenue.
Joplin residents will vote on the proposition today. Coming up later in the show, our own Yana Hatula steps into the booth to take a closer look at this ballot issue. You can be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. The website includes resources for all the 4 state areas, such as polling places, and you can even check to see if you're registered to vote. Once again, that's koamnewsnow.com/elections. Authorities make an arrest in the robbery of a Joplin convenience store on Wednesday. The Joplin Police Department responded to a report of a burglary at Zips convenience store on 32nd Street. During the investigation, the JPD found the suspect had entered the store through a broken window and stole a variety of store merchandise before fleeing the scene. Surveillance video from a separate occasion showed the suspect forcing entry into the business and stealing additional merchandise. Authorities tracked down the suspect, 18-year-old Aaron Moore, a homeless man, and confirmed that Moore committed the burglaries. Moore has been arrested and charged for burglary, property damage, and stealing. Carthage Fire and Dunawig Fire team up to stop a grass fire before it reaches structures. About 11:30 Monday morning, there were reports of a fast-moving grass fire near County Road 110 and Cedar Road. Jasper County Emergency 911 was alerted. Carthage Fire alongside Mercy Carthage Ambulance responded. Dunawig Fire responded as mutual aid. 3 homes were threatened, but the 2 fire departments working together controlled the fire. Crews remain on scene till after 1 p.m., making sure fence rows were extinguished. There's not a burn ban in Jasper County. However, burning outside is not recommended. Each fire department and district sets their own standards. That's according to daily conditions. On Monday, Kansas Senator Jerry Moran announces new federal resources for the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office received $60,000 to buy non-lethal weapons, enhanced tasers, and cameras on their guns.
Violence has skyrocketed across the country, and the Midwest is not immune to that. And so our deputies are seeing an increase in violent situations on a regular basis. And these tools are going to allow us to apprehend those suspects in a safer way that will not only be safer for the suspects, but for the deputies and the community at large.
Senator Moran is the lead Republican on the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and related agencies, which helped him secure the funds. Falling gasoline prices are giving drivers a much-needed break. The national average for a gallon of gas has been hovering close to $4.20 for regular. And that's according to AAA after recently breaking above $5 for a gallon for the first time. But AAA cites new data showing demand rising, which says could renew price pressure at the pump. On this date back in 1992, Jackie Joyner Kersey becomes the first woman ever to win 2 consecutive Olympic gold medals in the heptathlon. Born and raised in East St. Louis, Jackie Joyner overcame poverty and chronic asthma to win a scholarship to UCLA, where she starred on the basketball and track teams. In '86, Joyner married UCLA track coach Bob Kersey, who became her trainer. 2 years later, after winning the 1987 World Championships in the long jump and the heptathlon, Joyner Kersey won gold in both events at the Seoul Olympics. Her 7,291 points set a new world record for the heptathlon, and her jump of 24 feet 3 inches was a new Olympic best. That's amazing. The 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, she overcame a poor finish in the shot put by finishing the 800 meters in a respectable 2 minutes and 11 seconds, which gave her a total of 7,044 points and the gold medal.
Hi. I was going to talk about the weather, and then I changed my mind. So, an impressive career. Frank McCormick, J.W. Henkel, they invented the car wash, and it was originally called the automobile laundry.
Chris has been obsessed with this
now
car
I know.
wash all
we
morning
all
long.
know. Okay. Just, it was a random thought. When you're driving from Joplin to here at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have a lot of time to think about things.
Okay, so
I was curious. See, I've left her with not knowing what to do again. She'll get used to it eventually.
we will use this as a transition because typically when you go to the car wash and you wash your car, then it rains. So we need that.
We need you all to wash your cars tomorrow because we have some storms that are going to start moving into our northwestern areas by tomorrow afternoon, and then they'll pick up. There they are. They'll pick up Wednesday night into Thursday morning. They don't do anything for temperatures, but at least they give us some rain, which is something we absolutely need.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, severe weather takes its toll on the nation.
From the raging wildfire in California to the floodwaters ravaging Kentucky, hundreds are missing and the death toll is climbing. I'm Trinity Chavez with how Americans are grappling with the effects of extreme weather.
Plus, ever feel like you need to get away from the stress of everyday life? Spas around the world see an increase in people interested in non-traditional stress relief.
And they might taste good, but new research shows eating a large amount of ultra-processed foods can have a negative impact on brain health. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, extreme weather sparking natural disasters from coast to coast continue to take both property and lives. Kentucky's governor says at least 37 people have died in historic flooding there, and at least 2 people have been killed by a massive wildfire in Northern California. Trinity Chavez has the latest.
The Mckinney Fire, now California's largest of the year, is still raging out of control. It's now burned through nearly 90 square miles.
It traveled from the top of that ridge downhill in the space of maybe 15 minutes. It was just the most amazing, terrifying thing you've ever seen.
Time-lapse satellite images show how quickly the fire has grown since Saturday near the California-Oregon border. It's a race to get residents to safety and locate the missing.
A wind shift or directional shift can make all the difference between being able to safely evacuate or being stuck where you are.
Unpredictable weather is expected to play a role today, with thunderstorms that could bring rain, which could help firefighters, but also lightning strikes, which could add to the flames.
I think the biggest thing for us to think about is how dry these conditions are. Every strike has a greater potential right now to start a fire.
Kentucky, meantime, facing issues on the other end of the spectrum, where overnight storms hit areas already devastated by historic flooding. Homes and businesses washed away.
Well, I hate more. See, everything in the house is gone.
Officials say more than 36 lives have been confirmed lost to the storm, but the fear is that number will grow.
We're encountering roadways that are washed out or completely gone, so we're working on trying to get those areas open so that we can get search crews and humanitarian crews into those areas.
Mother Nature expected to hamper efforts here too, as the National Weather Service has forecasted more heavy rain and winds into today. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
That's a look at one of today's top national stories. We'll be right back.
Well, trying to relax is no easy task these days as we navigate the pandemic in an ever-complicated world. Spas around the world are seeing an increase in popularity of non-traditional treatments to ease stress in new ways. Wendy Gillette reports.
At the Fairmont Scottsdale Princess near Phoenix, more guests are singing the praises of singing bowl sound therapy.
We use sound or vibration to really reach them on a cellular level to promote healing within their body.
The hotel says bookings of the service are up over 75% this year.
People are seeking alternative therapies, more non-traditional therapies, to help them to become more relaxed and also play a role in their well-being and intentional living.
At the Ritz-Carlton Millenia, Singapore, a masseuse synchronizes her movements with a live cellist.
Asia is generally a mecca for unusual spa treatments. Here at the Banyan Tree Vaya in Phuket, Thailand, the new weightless therapy is a combination of flotation, massage, stretching, and meditational sound.
Post-COVID, many people are seeking relief from stress and anxiety, and this treatment has been specifically designed to help people reach a state of healing and relaxation.
South of the border, massages at Dreams Natura Resorts and Spa near Cancun can be booked in front of a giant screen showcasing scenes from nature. Nearby, guests at Rosewood Mayakoba go into nature before receiving a Mayan blessing and choosing herbs to create a specialized oil for use in their massage. A deep sinkhole, also known as a cenote, is the backdrop for treatments at Palmaya, the House of Aya, also near Cancun.
It's a sacred area that the ancient Mayans used to purify everything.
It's integral to the Temazcal, a traditional Mayan healing ceremony in which guests sweat out impurities and hopefully shed some of the burdens of the past to experience a rebirth. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Phuket, Thailand.
Prices for the treatments range from $69 for the scalp massage at Dreams Natura to $480 for the live cello massage in Singapore. Starting the day out pretty nice. Sun is set to rise approximately 4 minutes from now. And as we start the day, it's a mild one, 77 in Joplin, feeling like 79. Most of us in the mid-70s across the board, as you can see. And as we go through the day, we have heat advisories that are going through at least tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And here's why. Temperatures pushing the mid to upper 90s under a gusty south wind, with heat index values approaching 110 degrees. And as we go through the night, no major relief from the heat whatsoever. Lower 80s to upper 70s as we start our day. And we do have rain chances, though. By tomorrow afternoon, they'll start to work into our northwestern counties, and they'll really build in Wednesday night into Thursday across the area. They do nothing for temperatures, but at least they bring us some much needed rain. Alert days for the heat advisories, and then the heat just sticks with us as we wrap up the week and start the next work week. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, new research shows eating a large amount of ultra-processed foods can have a big impact on brain health. Elise Preston has more.
We know they are not the healthiest, but ultra-processed foods are quick, easy, and tasty. Now, new research shows eating a lot of these products can significantly speed up cognitive decline. The research presented at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference followed more than 10,000 people over 9 years. People who consume the highest amount of ultra-processed foods, more than 20% of the daily caloric intake, had a 28% faster cognitive decline, in particular in memory and executive function. Ultra-processed foods contain large amounts of fat, sugar, salt, as well as artificial flavors and colors. A few examples: soda, cereal, white bread, potato chips, and frozen foods like pizza, fries, and ice cream. Experts say with growing evidence that what we eat can impact the brain, it's best to eat heart healthy, a diet low in processed foods and high in fruits and vegetables. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Coalition of Women's Health Professionals issues new guidelines to help prevent obesity in middle-aged women. The Women's Preventative Services Initiative recommends that clinicians should counsel female patients between the ages of 40 to 60 about eating healthy and physical activity, even if they are not overweight. Obesity affects about 43% of American women in that age group. Well, few smokers tried to kick the habit during the pandemic. That's according to a new study from the American Cancer Society. Researchers found the drops were the largest among groups who experience disproportionately negative outcomes from COVID-19, including Black people and people with other health issues. Using smartphones and other digital devices seem to actually improve memory skills. Researchers from the University College London conducted a study and found digital devices help participants store and remember very important information to free up their memory to recall additional, less important details. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We are starting the day off pretty decently in the mid-70s, but it's going to warm up very quickly. Heat advisories through to at least tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Temperatures pushing the mid to upper 90s. Heat index values pushing close to 110 degrees. We do have a gusty south wind today, and it'll last into tonight. Doesn't do anything for temperatures, but it'll be breezy. 82 by 2 a.m. starting the day again in the upper 70s. And about the wind we were talking about, picks up today, really starts to pick up tomorrow in advance of our next storm system. That's going to bring us some rain chances, so keep an eye on your trash can. We're in the knocked over stage. We're not up to neighbor's yard yet, but if the winds continue to increase, we may be at that point at some point in the future. Future track shows nothing other than some increasing clouds as we go through the day. They'll clear out by tomorrow, and then they'll start to build back in again, because by tomorrow afternoon, take a look off to our northwest. See this nice little system? This is what's going to bring us rain chances come tomorrow evening and overnight. So alert days today and tomorrow for the heat advisories, and then building storm chances Wednesday night into Thursday, doing nothing for the temperatures, unfortunately. And once they clear out, it stays hot and dry for the rest of the week. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, voters in Joplin head to the polls today to determine whether or not to raise property taxes to help support the police and fire departments.
The sun is rising. The temperatures will do so very rapidly behind it, but there's some rain chances on the way, the latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And an infusion of federal funds goes to help the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office with the purchase of new equipment.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. I'm noticing our little opens there have changed a bit. We're seeing some new video. That was Television City, and that one, I like it better than the squirrel. I mean, the squirrel's cute and all, but he was just kind of odd.
You know, they change all the time. You're just now noticing it.
I mean, I've seen different ones, but I'm saying these are newer than what I've seen in the past.
Okay.
So I'm noticing there's been some upgrades
That's
to
good.
squirrels. Tim
but we
says
like the squirrel.
that I'm welcome. So Tim must have been putting these together. I'm
Don't-
not saying
don't-
there's
don't
anything
get rid of
wrong
the
with the
squirrel. I
squirrel.
like the squirrel.
I'm simply saying he's an interesting character. He was just chilling.
Yeah.
Usually you can't get that close to him without him running out and, freaking out and running off and all this other good stuff. It's like the wild rabbits in the city. There's a bunch in our
Your
neighborhood.
dog decides to catch a squirrel and bring it up to you as a prize.
They're very proud of their prizes. I mean, that's what they do. They're here to show you, look what I did for you. I got this guy before he got you, okay? He was going to come and take all the walnuts out of your tree, and I stopped him.
He sure did.
I stopped him from
Yes, he
doing
did.
that. We have a nice sunrise this morning at 7th and Rangeline. Temperatures are in the upper 70s, 77 to be precise in Joplin, feeling like 79. Most of us in the mid to upper 70s across the board, and as we head through the day, temperatures will climb rapidly into the mid to upper 90s. Heat index values pushing close to 110. No relief from the heat tonight other than a gusty south breeze. 82 by 2 a.m. Overnight lows in the upper 70s to start the day again tomorrow. But as I mentioned, there's some rain chances on the way, and we will talk about those rain chances a little bit later because at least we're getting some.
Yeah.
And we need them. We got some last week. Hopefully we'll get more this week. Hopefully we can get more through the month of August to help with the drought situation. But as we've mentioned, average rainfall, we're still a pinch. I think we're about 1/10 of an inch above average because we got all that rain earlier this year in May where it just rained like every day. We got all of our year's rain in a month and then it just stopped. So hopefully we can get some more on the way.
It would be nice. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a Southwest Missouri man is dead from an early Monday morning crash. Authorities say Franklin Bradley was driving on Lawrence 2040 in Miller, Missouri, when his car went off the road, hit a fence and tree, and overturned. Bradley died on the scene. Authorities responded to a call Sunday night in Montgomery County, Kansas for an evening crash. They say when they arrived, they found a car upside down in the ditch where they found 40-year-old Amber Beckenholt of Elk City, Kansas. She died at the scene. Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff's Department is getting $60,000 in federal money to buy non-lethal weapons, enhanced tasers, and cameras on their guns. The sheriff says these tools will help with the arrest of suspects and be safer for deputies in the community at large. Citizens of Joplin will decide to vote for or against a higher property tax to help the Joplin police and fire departments to get officer retention and increase hiring. KOAM's Jana Hatula has more.
Joplin police and fire departments will get some extra funding if residents vote yes for Proposition Public Safety. The police department currently has 22 job openings, and staff is working overtime. The fire department could also add more workers, as well as a new fire station, according to Mike Seibert.
Expenditures like this, the city budget doesn't have the flexibility to add $9 million in additional expense the way we're set up. So we've got to find something in addition to the sales tax revenue.
If approved, it would add a property tax of $1 per $100 of assessed property value. Seibert says property taxes in other cities in Missouri are higher than in Joplin, where it is less than 4% because Joplin was said to be a sales tax-driven community. However, Joplin is not earning enough from it anymore because the cities nearby now have their own stores.
Well, that affects how much tax revenue the city of Joplin is able to generate through sales tax.
The raises were voted on by the city council back in May.
All of those raises are in effect. The only thing that is holding it back is the revenue source.
If the Proposition Public Safety passes, the raises will go into an effect on November 1st. Joplin citizens are for and against the change.
I'm definitely for it because I want to do everything I can to help the police and our firefighters in our community. You know, they put their lives out on the line every day for us, and they never know if they're going to go home to their families or not.
I think that it should be narrowed down to completely police and fire protection. I think it's too broad of a statement, and that there'll be other things used for it.
In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
The official also says if the proposition passes, it would help retain firefighters in Joplin throughout their career. As we mentioned, voters in Missouri and Kansas will head to the polls today for primary elections. On the ballot in both states are some state and local races. Kansans will also decide a constitutional amendment on the right to abortion. In Missouri, polls opened at 6 a.m. and will run until 7 p.m. In Kansas, they're open from 7 to 7. Be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. Website includes resources for all the 4-state area, such as polling places, and you can even check to see if you're registered to vote. Once again, that's koamnewsnow.com/elections. On this date, back in 1962, Robert Allen Zimmerman would begin to change the world of music forever with the simple name change to
Bob Dylan.
That's right. In 2022, it may be easy to forget how much of an influence Dylan has had on music, as many artists consider him to be one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Dylan's impact has been enormous. Dylan's body of work is vast and celebrated.
Over the years, he's released 39 studio albums, 95 singles, and 15 live albums. Sold over 125 million records, and his numerous awards include the Presidential Medal of Freedom, 10 Grammy Awards, a Golden Globe Award, an Academy Award, a Nobel Prize in Literature, and induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Time magazine included Dylan as one of their most important people of the century, and that he certainly was. Because his song, Shelter from the Storm, is something you may be looking for Wednesday night into Thursday.
Hey, you found your segue.
Skywatch Storm Tracker shows a storm out to the northeast now of Wichita. May make its way into some of our northern counties. And this is interesting. Oh, I see. There we go. That's what was, I'm pressing the button and it's not going anywhere. It's all right. That's okay. Anyway, you can see heat index values today and tomorrow pushing close to 110, hence the heat advisories. Quick look at the 7-day. We'll talk about that rain. Comes in Wednesday night into Thursday. Unfortunately, it does nothing for our temperatures. But at least we're getting some rain, which is something we desperately need. And temperatures, at least going into the weekend, are only in the upper 90s instead of the lower 100s. I guess that's a plus. I mean, a few degrees sometimes can make all the difference. I mean, a few degrees makes a difference in whether or not your water's going to boil. So
That's true. Very true. What a way to look at it. And at least we're not at boiling point.
exactly. I certainly hope we don't get to boiling point. That would be a very unpleasant day.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. With the rising cost of everyday items like rent, food, and gas, many people have made the tough decision to surrender their pets to animal shelters.
Plus, we've got a preview of a new documentary about the life of Princess Diana. But if the royal family is not your cup of tea, there are plenty of other documentaries to choose from. And we want to know what kind of documentaries you enjoy. We'll let you weigh in. We'll be right back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, animal shelters in some areas of the country are seeing more pets return to their care. Some owners struggling with the rising cost of rent, food, and gas are making the difficult decision to surrender their dog or cat, factors that may also prevent potential pet families from making the commitment to bring an animal into their home. Michael George takes a look at the effects of inflation on these furry friends.
Mira Horowitz of Lucky Dog Animal Rescue unloads a transport van of animals, fortunate enough to be finding homes.
This is the toughest summer that I have seen in 13 years of being involved in animal welfare.
Horowitz and her team work with High Kill Shelters, bringing animals to the DC metro area for foster and adoption. But those needing a home have far outpaced people looking for a pet.
I've never turned down puppies. I am turning down puppies this year.
Data from Best Friends Animal Society show 355,000 cats and dogs were killed in U.S. shelters in 2021, the first increase in 5 years. Inflation-induced financial hardship is now forcing some owners to surrender their pets.
We had to make a decision about, we need a roof for the baby and us.
And shelters in parts of the country are overwhelmed and understaffed.
We only have so much space in our facility, so if we don't have the room, then we have to tell them no.
Another reason for the animal surplus, a suspension of spay and neuter early in the pandemic.
Now we're in the fourth generation of those unwanted litters that came out of that time.
Organizations like the ASPCA are offering assistance to owners in need, ranging from food to veterinary care, to help keep pets in their forever homes. The ASPCA's community veterinary clinics, like this one in Brooklyn, provide partially and fully subsidized preventative care to qualifying pet owners.
There is a wide spectrum of what pet owners can afford, and all along that spectrum, there's a limit to how much people can pay for care.
Horowitz hopes the dog days of summer don't slow down the pace of giving these little guys a new leash on life. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, to save on medical care, Dr. Brown suggests discussing your budget with your veterinarian because there's typically a range of treatments available, and even if you can't take in a pet yourself, animal welfare experts suggest contributing your time as a shelter volunteer or making a donation. USDA proposes new regulations that would make food processors cut the amount of salmonella bacteria found in some raw chicken products. Manufacturers that exceed allowable levels could face plant shutdowns. CDC says salmonella bacteria sickens more than 1 million Americans every year, causing more than 400 deaths. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Chris for our Something to Talk About.
Yeah, this morning we're discussing documentaries. The new documentary, The Princess, traces the life of Princess Diana from her seemingly fairy tale courtship to her death 25 years ago this month. The film looks at Diana's life in the nonstop media spotlight and how the constant scrutiny and judgment reflected the public's fears and desires. If you're interested in watching this documentary, it'll be premiering on HBO and HBO Max on August 13th. And that brings us to our Something to Talk About. What kind of documentaries do you watch? True crime, political, life stories, travel, historical, science and nature, maybe even something else. So far, 35% of you say that you enjoy those historical documentaries, while 24% of you say you enjoy true crime, and some others ranking in there as well. Make sure you vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote do so in the app and take part in the discussion on the Facebook page. Maybe you can find a new documentary series to watch. Well, it's time to put your party hat on. We're going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Ethan Hardin. Sergeant Hardin served in the Army from 2006 to 2011. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan with the 10th Mountain Division. During his service, he earned a Bronze Star and Purple Heart, among several other medals. To Sergeant Ethan Hardin, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
It is time now to celebrate some birthdays and take a look at this cute little guy here, Benjamin Hogson, turning 3 years old today in Joplin, and this birthday wish comes with love from Dad, Mom, Aaliyah, Cooper, and Maylee. Happy birthday, Benjamin.
And let's see, we've got Rylan Keller, turning 11 years old this year in Neodesha, with love from Mama and Papa.
We've also got Colton Flake turning 28. Say that 3 times fast. Colton Flake turning 28. Happy birthday to you. I'm not saying it 3 times fast, but very, very happy 28th birthday to you, Colton.
Hey, happy birthday, Colton. And a happy birthday going out to Austin Mclaughlin, turning 39 years old this year. Austin is in Wyandotte.
Heading over to Crestline, we've got Kathy Parrish turning 66 years old today. Looking pretty good for 66. A very happy birthday to you, Kathy.
And in answer to your question yesterday, Kathy, no, I have not left. I'm still here.
Are you?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Yes, hope you have a happy birthday. Kathy and I share a love for the Royals.
Ah, that's a good team to get behind.
Yeah. All right, Patricia Hall turning 72 years old this year. Patricia is in Pittsburgh with love from the entire family.
And then we head a little further west to Erie, where Jim Carlson is turning 79 years old today. Jim, a very happy birthday to you, sir.
Roger Rawson in Edna, Kansas. Happy birthday to you with love from the family.
And then this is a good party in the bus, the 25th anniversary of John and Vicki Johnson. Celebrating that anniversary, of course, in Columbus. John and Vicki, happy 25th, and many more to come.
All right, in Chanute, Mr. Kim Wilson celebrating birthday number 63 this year. Michael Haberty celebrating in Frontenac, and in Erie, Lois is sending birthday wishes out to Linda Noakes.
And we've also got Paul and Mila Yeager celebrating their 47th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Paul and Mila.
All right, and that is our birthday list for today. If you have a birthday or an anniversary, you can submit them to birthdays with an S at KOAMTV.com or birthdays at KOAMNewsNow.com.
And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. And you know why you want to sign up for it? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you why. You get some really cool deals from local businesses. All you have to do is go to our website, sign up for the KOAM News Now Birthday Clubs. So, coming up, when we switch over to Fox 14, we've got a story you don't want to miss. We're going to take you to an unusual art exhibit that took place over the weekend. It was part of the national event called Construction, designed to bring awareness and food to local food pantries. We've got that and more when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. So, we got a beautiful sunrise to start the day, and it's going to be another warm one. Shoot, let's just be honest. It's going to be another hot one. 77 in Joplin right now, feels like 79. Already got a heat index this hour of the day. We got mid-70s for most of us starting the day, and those temperatures are going to climb quickly. That's why we have heat advisories through at least tomorrow at 8. Because high temperatures pushing once again to the mid to upper 90s with breezy conditions and heat index values approaching 110 degrees. As we go through the night, we'll have some building clouds. They'll clear out and then they'll build in again. We'll talk about that too. Lows dropping off in the lower 80s, upper 70s with that breeze sticking around. Quick look at that breeze. Not, again, breezy today. Could be breezier tomorrow because of our next storm system that's coming in. So take a look at the future track. Shows us not much today. Here's those building clouds I talked about. They'll come in through the overnight, and then by tomorrow, they'll start to clear out before they build again, because off to our north and west, we got this stuff building in. Now, these are just a few showers that may work their way in before the big show gets going. And ahead of the big show, once again, look at these highs, upper 90s to near 100 degrees. That's also going to push heat index values again tomorrow. We're talking upwards of 106 to 107, and again, close to 110 degrees. And as we take a look at the 7-day, we'll talk about those storm chances. Alert days today and tomorrow for those heat advisories. Storm chances build in tomorrow night into Thursday. They don't do anything for the temperatures, unfortunately. Once it clears out, it stays hot through the rest of the week into the weekend, but at least we're getting some kind of rain. So make sure you get out and wash your car at the automobile laundry, as it was originally called, to help encourage these rain chances. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities make an arrest in the robbery of a Joplin convenience store. On Wednesday, July 27th, the Joplin Police Department responded to a report of a burglary at Zips convenience store on 32nd Street. During the investigation, the JPD found the suspect had entered the store through a broken window and stole a variety of store merchandise before fleeing the scene. Surveillance video from a separate occasion showed the suspect forced entry into the business and stole additional merchandise. Authorities tracked down the suspect, 18-year-old Aaron Moore, a homeless man, and confirmed that Moore committed the burglaries. Moore has been arrested and charged for burglary, property damage, and stealing. A Southwest Missouri man is dead from an early Monday morning crash. Authorities say Franklin Bradley was driving on Lawrence 2040 in Miller, Missouri, when his car went off the road, hit a fence and tree, and overturned. Bradley died at the scene. And authorities responded to a call Sunday night in Montgomery County, Kansas for an evening crash. They say when they arrived, they found a car upside down in the ditch where they found 40-year-old Amber Beckenholt of Elk City, Kansas. She died at the scene. Carthage Fire and Dunawig Fire halt a grass fire before it reaches structures around 11:30 Monday morning. There were reports of a fast-moving grass fire near County Road 110 and Cedar Road. Jasper County Emergency 911 was alerted. Carthage Fire alongside Mercy Carthage Ambulance responded. Dunawig Fire responded as mutual aid. 3 homes were threatened, but the 2 fire departments worked together to control the fire. Crews remained on scene till after 1 p.m., making sure fence rows were extinguished. There's not a burn ban in Jasper County. However, burning outside is not recommended. Each fire department and district set their own standards according to daily conditions. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Hot and dry again today. We're starting the day pretty nice, but temperatures are going to soar up there. Heat advisories through at least tomorrow at 8. A breezy day, temperatures pushing in the mid to upper 90s with heat index values approaching about 110. Same thing tonight, except without the 110 heat index. Temperatures dropping lower 80s to upper 70s with that gusty wind. And I wanted to show you real quick on the future track, though. We do have some increasing rain chances, so I've got to press this button several times. But clouds tonight, they'll move out, they'll rebuild, and by tomorrow evening, we'll have an additional storm system coming in and bringing more shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into tomorrow night into Thursday morning. And it is rain that we desperately need across the area, so hopefully we can get some. Doesn't do anything for temperatures, but at least it'll water the lawn and water the crops.
We definitely need that. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making pan-seared catfish and grits in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Interesting. Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings next. Trailblazing actress Sonia Manzano is best known for playing Maria on Sesame Street. Now she has a new historical novel for preteens called Coming Up Cuban. Ahead on CBS Mornings, why she was inspired to write about the Cuban Revolution and the important skills that she wants to teach to kids.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we take a closer look at why enrollment is down for some schools across the country.
Plus, we look at the planning involved in taking out the most dangerous terrorist in the world. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow bright and early at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.
Yes, we will.